healing. The U.S. Surgeon General issued the first health advisory of the Biden administration. As Natalie Brand reports, he's calling for a war against COVID misinformation as the Delta variant is on the rise.
Today, I issued a Surgeon General's advisory.
The U.S. Surgeon General, Dr. Wrdw, calls health misinformation an urgent threat to public health, saying American lives are at risk.
It's painful for me to know that nearly every death we are seeing now from COVID-19 could have been prevented. I say that as someone who has lost 10 family members to COVID-19 and who wishes each and every day that they had the opportunity to get vaccinated.
The Surgeon General cited a study which says even brief exposure to misinformation made people less likely to want a COVID-19 vaccine.
2/3 of people who are not vaccinated either believe common myths about the COVID-19 vaccine or think some of those myths might be true.
This comes as new cases are up double digits in nearly every state, and they're up 50% or more in 32 states.
We anticipated that we would see in areas with high vaccination, low case rates, and now we see in areas of low vaccination, very high case rates.
There's also increasing concern about low vaccination rates among adolescents. About 25% of 12 to 15-year-olds have been fully vaccinated as students prepare to return to the classroom.
In many states, there are different policies for how these teens will get vaccinated. Some haven't, prioritized it. Some don't have the information. Some parents want to have more information about this vaccine for younger kids.
CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky believes if people take action now, we can avoid a spike in cases this fall. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Washington.
And children aren't just behind on COVID vaccines, but other pediatric vaccines as well. Researchers at the University of Washington studying vaccine programs from around the world. They estimate at least 17 million kids miss routine vaccinations. The study says even though vaccines are nearing normal level now, the Delta variant strain of COVID could stall or reverse those trends. Car dealers say there are two issues to blame for the lack of new or used cars right now: the production of microchips that control the car's electronics, and more people are traveling and in need of a car. Madeline Stewart tells us how it's impacting prices too.
Bill McDaniels, owner of McDaniels Acura, says during the summer, car sales are usually through the roof. But the drop in new car inventory has caused a big decrease in sales this year.
Well, normally we have on our facility here in Columbia about 700 and new cars. We have 3 new Porsches. We have 1 new Subaru. We have 19 Volkswagens and about 35 Acuras.
The demand for cars has caused the price to rise in the past year. New cars are up 5.3%, while used cars cost about 45% more than they did last year, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Because new cars aren't available, McDaniel says dealers are on the market for used cars, and they're paying higher prices for them right now.
Used car values are just skyrocketing, but that's sort of a fault staying because it's not always going to be there. As soon as we get the cars back, the supply and demand will come back balance.
This imbalance in supply and demand has even affected rental cars. Robert Abston, owner of A-Plus Car Rentals, says he's rented out all 60 of his cars.
I mean, I'd buy another 60 tomorrow. I can't. I don't have the workforce to be able to rent the vehicles. I don't have the ability to go buy the amount of cars. I can't find 60 cars right now that I can buy tomorrow.
Business is booming for rental cars, even though the increase in demand for cars has driven up the prices for those as well.
Well, we've been doing the best we can. We've been having to pay a little more for the cars this year than we normally pay for that same car in a previous year. And just the amount of cars are not there.
Economics believe the supply and demand issues will be fixed as time goes on, and inventory should be back up for cars at the start of next year. The Olympics are only 8 days away, but Tokyo is experiencing record-breaking new COVID infections. The city is still under its 4th state of emergency, but athletes are continuing to pour into the city, excited to start the postponed games. This includes Team USA's gymnastics team, who just arrived.
It'll be different, but it'll be worth it, and at least we get the opportunity to still compete at Olympic Games.
Certain athletes from South Africa, Croatia, and Kenya have been in isolation because they've had close contact with someone who tested positive. Olympic officials are monitoring those teams and the athletes who came into contact. People have been offering all sorts of incentives to get vaccinated, gift cards, money, food, and beer, but how about a tattoo? Well, a shop in Alaska is doing free tattoos to encourage vaccinations, and it's actually working. One woman who said she was afraid of needles but didn't mind getting a tattoo decided to take the shot up on its offer. Well, tonight is the art reception in the Sacred Heart Cultural Center, and it's going on right now until 6 o'clock tonight in the Art Hall. This is video of the art they're showcasing. It's all by local artist Mary Houston. Her artwork will be up until August 20th, so if you can't make it tonight, you still have plenty of time to stop by and see the exhibit. Coming up, getting from Charlotte to Atlanta in a more convenient way. Well, that's the plan for the new bullet train set to be used. We're going to explain more next.
Heat index is going to be pretty steamy, though. We're expecting temps to be in the 90s the next couple of hours, but it's feeling like up to 101 up at the lake. So make sure you are staying hydrated. Watch out for those storms. We'll have a look at the weekend forecast in just a little bit.
All right, thank you, Riley. Investigators are working to learn exactly what led to this massive fire that destroyed several Mount Pleasant businesses overnight. No one got hurt, but there is plenty of damage to clean up, not far after that bridge from Charleston. One of the businesses destroyed is a bridal shop. It's leaving brides-to-be trying to figure out their next steps. The mayor says around 100 brides in all were affected. Treasure White spent 3 hours just yesterday searching for the perfect dress. Hours later, the store went up in flames, and so did her dress.
I found out about the fire this morning. My mom told me how her friend contacted her and let her know about the fire. So when she approached me in my room and she told me, I was originally very devastated. I was crying and everything because it was such a touching moment that me and my mom were able to, select this dress so that, we can create a memory.
Wow, 1 minute they're picking it out, the next minute it's gone. One woman who lives nearby says she's offering to lend out her dress to another bride in need. We've seen similar offers circulating around social media as well. So, you know what? People coming to the rescue of these brides with, very limited options.
They are in a tough spot right now after that fire on the coast. Also today, the American
University. New reports released in the murder of a 13-year-old girl in Florida. St. Johns County detectives investigating the death of Tristan Bailey not only found bloody clothes and sneakers in the bedroom of her accused killer, Aiden Fucci, but also a notebook that contained violent drawings.
Now, Fucci's girlfriend is speaking out, and Corley Peel reports on the warning signs before the murder.
The 14-year-old accused of killing 13-year-old Tristan Bailey had anger issues, according to his girlfriend. She claims Aiden Fucci frequently talked about killing people, even killing her. According to this report, she says he would hear voices in his head when he was angry. The voices would tell him he was worthless and a disappointment, and the voices told him to kill people when he was angry. She says Fucci knew something was wrong with him and wanted to reach out for help. I spoke with News4Jack's crime and safety expert Ken Jefferson, who is a retired police officer.
Well, obviously nobody took him serious until the actual act, and unfortunately it was too late.
Fucci's girlfriend told detectives he had 2 knives named Picker and Poker. On occasion, she claims he would take his knife out and pretend to stab her. The report shows he would surprise her from behind and put a knife to her throat. 1 month before Bailey's death, Fucci's girlfriend told detectives he planned to murder someone by dragging them into the woods and stabbing them. Bailey was reported missing on May 9th. She was found hours later, brutally stabbed and left in a wooded area in the Durbin Crossing neighborhood. While Fucci was in the back of this patrol car, he spoke with his girlfriend. She says Fucci told her he was going to be arrested and that he was going to plead the fifth. Detectives say none of Fucci's threats prior to Bailey's death were ever reported to authorities.
You feel like if someone spoke up, maybe this might not have ever happened?
If someone had spoken up, this possibly could have been avoided. Maybe they could have gotten to him in time to get inside of his head to see what's making him tick.
It is still not clear if Fucci's plan to kill someone was targeted at Tristan Bailey, but he is charged with first-degree murder. Investigators say it's extremely important to always report suspicious behavior and comments like that to prevent tragedies like this. Well, the Air Force is rolling out a new sexual assault prevention program today. It's done using virtual reality, and airmen and women in the Low Country are some of the first in the nation to try it out.
Danielle Seed at Joint Base Charleston with what military officials are hoping to accomplish with this technology.
This experience is great.
It's a real airman in front of you, and it's very realistic.
Joint Base Charleston is one of 2 bases receiving about a dozen of these virtual reality headsets.
Going to really get impact in skill-based learning.
The experience takes you through a real-life situation.
You're interacting with them, and they get emotional, and you're really in this experience with them.
Where a fellow airman is struggling after being sexually assaulted.
They just know, I'm not okay. They were triggered. They have some trauma coming up.
We have kind of like a live view of an interaction with someone.
According to the Air Force, there were more than 1,600 reports of sexual assault in this branch of the military alone. But the hope is with this new immersive technology that they'll be able to bring that number down by learning how and when to report it.
To get involved, not to just watch something, but know that they have a voice, and their voice can prevent something bad from happening, sexual assault or any crime.
Although airmen are required to take part in a sexual assault and prevention program every year, airmen say this hands-on experience is more like real life.
We have more of an experience that we can take and expand it.
Charleston, just one of 2 Air Force bases to use this new equipment, but the plan is to roll it out nationwide. Last year, there were more than 1,600 reports of sexual assault in the Air Force. Okay, while some players have had to travel thousands of miles for the Peach Jam, one team has 4 players from right here in the area. The Skills Factory U15 team has a couple of players from Thompson High School, one from Laney, one from Augusta Christian.
Even their head coach, Julius Patterson, is from Waynesboro. Patterson says the team has gotten a lot of support from the region and says emotions have been running high this week.
It's a dream come true, man. It feels so surreal to be a local person from this area, watching this every year, and being here, coaching in it with local players playing. You don't get no better than this, man.
Really does it. I mean, a lot of these guys fly in, so we've got local guys. It's great. The team has won 2 out of its first 3 games. They've got 4 games over the next 4 days, all at the Augusta Convention Center, and we wish them the best of luck.
They're doing well so far. Okay, Bradford Pears, you see them everywhere around here. So you can listen to some live music there and check out all the featured artists there. It's happening until 8 o'clock tonight, but they are well underway there, right on Georgia Avenue in North Augusta.
Yeah, it looks as though some pretty good food there, too, under those tents.
We like that.
Yeah, a 6-year-old North Carolina boy battling a rare form of leukemia, not once, but twice. He just recently returned home from St. Jude's Children's Hospital.
And as Mary King tells us, he's wasting no time when it comes to wanting to help other kids at St. Jude like him, and that runs in his family.
They say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and in the Palmer home, that couldn't be more true.
When Jennings' cancer returned in November, I think it was like literally 2 or 3 days later, she was like, I want to do something for St. Jude. I want to do something for St. Jude, the kids of St. Jude.
Mom Lauren is talking about Jennings' big sister Caroline. After her brother's first cancer diagnosis, Caroline watched her mom raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for cancer research. Taking note, she wanted to do something to help too.
She said, I want to do an art sale. And I love that she thought of this. And so even though there was so much going on, I totally was like, we need to let her execute on this idea.
And boy, did she ever. Caroline rallied friends to create art, gathering more than 140 pieces. And this past December, she held a virtual sale, selling everything.
People just rallied around her and gave large sums of money for children's art.
That total came to $6,000 raised for St. Jude.
It really meant a lot to see her think of that on her own, process that on her own, understand the need that these kids have and these families have, and want to help them.
Perhaps it's the bond that runs between brother and sister. In 2018, Caroline selflessly gave her bone marrow in hopes of saving Jennings' life. Her cells gave him 2.5 healthy years before her brother would need a second transplant when his cancer came back. And while Dad's marrow was used this time in hopes of kicking the cancer for good, Caroline and Jennings are busy making plans with their mom for how they'll help other children fighting cancer.
Wow, just a family that has been through so much, wanting to give back so much.
And getting strength from each other the whole journey.
Wow. Yeah. Jennings says they're also going to sell toys, including Transformers. He's actually been collecting them through his treatment.
Yeah, we wish them the best as they go through that together, as we said.
Yeah, really sweet.
Okay, if you're using an old phone, it might stop working.
From the station that's on your side,
This is News 12 at 6 o'clock.
Heartbreak in the Aiken horse community. Annie Goodwood, known for her accomplishments on her horse. Those who knew her say riding horses was in her blood. Annie was doing just that yesterday at the Stable View Equestrian Facility in Aiken. That's when they say her horse missed a jump.
The horse threw her off and then fell on top of her, and Annie later died. Stable View is closed now for the next 2 weeks, but since the accident, messages of support for Annie's family have been pouring in on social media. Sloan O'Cone is live for us at Stable View, so it's hard to imagine how everyone's processing something like this, Sloan.
Understandably, everybody is very upset. Friends say that they are going to miss her smile and infectious, positive personality the most. Annie grew up riding and caring for horses, naturally talented and an accomplished rider. On her way to the top, her skills and passion did not go unnoticed. Olympic equestrian Will Coleman wrote on Facebook that she will continue to inspire the people she knew personally and professionally. Annie worked closely with Daniel Geithner, who says she was more than just a friend.
Really a part of our personal family, our barn family, and all the extended horse community in Aiken. We're a real close-knit group, and this has hit everyone pretty hard.
When I spoke to the people at Stable View, they said that this is just so hard for her family and for her working family, and they're going to do everything that they can in order to honor and remember her legacy. They just don't have anything set in stone yet.
Just a heartbreaking turn of events, really a freak thing that you don't hear about a lot in the horse community. Thanks for that, Sloan. And we're going to have more about her legacy coming up tonight at 11.
We heard some of the wind noise there.